think we are live. Hello, welcome. My name is Margie Remmers-Davis with Fast and Easy QBO, and I am delighted to welcome you to today's live stream where we are going to be going over the exercises that you voted on this week inside the locker room. If you are new, just joining us, watching the recording, then make sure that you join us in the locker room. The link is down below. And that's where I post dozens and dozens of hands-on practice exercises for using QBO. And you get to vote on what you'd like to see me create. You get to vote on what we're going to be doing on the live stream. And you get to join us live on the live stream. So I am delighted to have you here. Let's go ahead and dive in. So last week, we were focusing on the ProAdvisor challenges. Those are the exercises that are, well, they're sort of exercises that are inside your QBO ProAdvisor account. They're provided by Intuit. They're supposedly supposed to give you some hands-on practice with the things that, they're teaching you, but most of us don't really like them very well. We don't like the format of them. So I have been revamping them, putting them into our signature Fast and Easy QBO format. And the one that was voted on top last week, I misread it. I misunderstood it. And so I didn't do it. And I'm so embarrassed. And so I promised that today for the live stream, I would do that one first. So that's what we're going to do. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So our first exercise today, which is supposed to be actually from last week, is adjusting and writing some inventory to cost of goods sold, or writing off some inventory to cost of goods sold. So again, this is one of the ProAdvisor challenges that's inside your ProAdvisor account. And all of the exercises that we're going to be going over today are advanced level exercises, which doesn't mean you can't join us if you're brand new. If you're brand new, then of course, follow along, stretch yourself, work hard. This is what this is all about, growing and becoming better. So the inventory, let me just show you real quick here. So if you are looking for the original ProAdvisor challenge, then you're going to see right here, I clicked down here at the bottom, and then here is the path to get to the original, training or the challenge. But then right here, so we're going to go back to our exercise here. Oh, I forgot, I was going to say, this is why I went to the tab. So right here is the whole path to find it inside the Intuit training. But I wanted to point out, I don't even have it on here. Anyway, this is covered in our advanced level Fast and Easy course, which normally I would have a link right here. Oh yeah, I do. I have it right here. So if you want to get your hands on the full course for learning advanced level skills in QBO, then the link is right there. And I'm sure I'll have it down below of this video too. So, all right. So here we are in our exercise. Let me go back to the exercise, which by the way, Joel is putting it in the chat. So if you need a copy, and then there's also links below. And if you're in the locker room, then you got an email from me with all of the information. So, all right, so here we are. We're starting in the sample company, of course, and here's our scenario. So your client, Craig, noticed discrepancies in his stock levels and asked you to help him correct them. So this is what you do when you have inventory products, or at least you should, is every so often you should do a manual count because, things happen, like something gets broken or misplaced, or you grab two instead of one, like things happen. And so every so often you should have a regular procedure to go in and manually count that inventory. So that's what Craig did. Craig manually counted the inventory, and he found some discrepancies. So the sprinkler heads in QBO, it says that there's supposed to be 25, but actually there were only 20. And the sprinkler pipes in QBO said there were 31, but actually there were 35. So how would you go in and correct these. So this is what we're going to be walking through today. So we're going to go to the left nav bar, sales, and select products and services. So here we go, sales. We're going to go to products and services. All right, and then let's go back to our exercise and step 2. Okay, so we're going to just check the boxes for those 2 products, the sprinkler heads and the sprinkler pipes. And we're going to go right here, scroll down to find them. There we are, sprinkler head and sprinkler pipes. Okay, so next step, step 3, we're going to select batch actions and then adjust quantity. You could also do this inside the individual products, but since we're doing 2 products at once, we're going to do it this way. So now that I've selected them, I have to go up here, select batch actions, and then adjust quantity. And then boom, this is my inventory quantity adjustment. Let me not get ahead of myself. We're on step 4 here. So now for some reason, in the ProAdvisor challenge, Intuit wants us to change the inventory adjustment account. Now, so we already said that the number of sprinkler heads is less than we thought it was going to be. So we have to account for the value of that less amount. And then the sprinkler pipes, there were more than we thought there were. So again, we have to adjust for that account. Now, normally you would do that in an inventory shrinkage account and just basically says, oh, this is the value of, that we're not quite sure what happened to it. But for some reason in this exercise, and I asked a bunch of my bookkeeper friends, nobody can tell me why they would do this. But in this exercise, Intuit wants you to change it from inventory shrinkage to cost of goods sold. So that's what we did in this step right here, step 4. All right, and then finally, we're just going to put in the new quantities, 20 sprinkler heads and 35 sprinkler pipes. 20 of those and 35 of those. You notice that it makes the adjustment for me in this change in quantity column. And then I'm just going to click the black save button. All right, so now it's made the adjustment. And then, oh, I don't want to get ahead of myself, finished. I can actually check the transaction journal to see what happened. Okay, so if I go back here and I click more and then transaction journal, I'm going to go back to here. And then you'll be able to see my adjustments right here. So one of the products was $3.75 adjustment, and then the other one was a $10 adjustment. All right, let me go back to see if there it is right here. Here is our $3.75 adjustment and our, 15. Well, that's different than my picture, isn't it? Maybe I put in the wrong number. Sorry. All right, so that's it for our first exercise. Let's see any questions about that. All right, hi to you that are just joining. Yay. Okay. All right. So let's go on to our next exercise. This is the one that was actually voted on as number 1 this week, which is using projects. So again, projects is an advanced, it's an advanced level topic. We go over it in section 1, lesson 5. This is when all of that stuff is you have to learn and you're tested on and everything. So let's go back to the exercise and get started. All right. So this exercise, you'll notice that there are several parts here. We want to make sure and do all 4 parts of this exercise in the same sample company session because they're all going to link together. So we want to make sure and you don't step out. All right, so let's read part 1. Sushi by Katsuyuki has asked your client Craig to install a Japanese fountain at the entrance to their restaurant. Craig will be charging them $1,690 for 1 rock fountain, 1 fountain pump, $150 of garden lighting, 6 hours of custom design, and 2 full days of installation. Craig would like to make sure that his profit margin stays above 30% for this. So you're going to use projects to set up and track this for him. So the great thing about projects, the whole reason we use project is because we can see that project profitability so much easier using the cool tools. So you'll see that when we get into it. All right, so step 1, from the left navigation bar, we're going to click projects, then click start a project. We actually need to make sure that projects is turned on in the sample company first. I'm not sure why I don't have that in the exercise. Let me see, maybe it's already on in the sample company. All right, going to account and settings. Then I'm going to go to, is it advanced or is it sales? I'm not sure. We'll see in just a minute. I don't see it there. So let's look in advanced. Okay, yeah. So in the advanced tab, right here, projects, we want to make sure that that is turned on. So that should actually be our first step. Joel, if you can make a note of that, we need to make sure that that's in this exercise, that you have to turn projects on first. So we're going to turn it on, click save. And then wow, we are having fun with the sample company today. All right, let me go back to, I'm going to close this exercise. This is the one I was doing. Okay, so we're going to click projects and then start a project. All right, let's get done with the account and settings. You know, one time I did one of these live streams and the sample company was not working at all. So that was a good time. All right, so the sample company, I'm telling you guys, it is, I always tell my students that it's a gift. It's a gift. We're so lucky. We are so lucky that Intuit has given us this sample company with all of this pretend data that we can play around with. We're so lucky that we have it, but it also comes with its downsides, which means it doesn't always work the way we want it to. It's not always updated and it has problems. But anyway, but it's a gift and we have to be thankful for the gift. All right, so now that I have turned on projects, you'll see that it is available here on the left-hand side. So we're going to click projects right there. And then only because this is our first time running creating a project, we have this button, start a project right here. Normally it would be, maybe you saw it briefly up here, that says new project. But for the very first time, we're going to click start a project. Now let me go back so I make sure I don't get ahead of myself. All right, step 2. Oh, I have written here in the exercise, in a real life scenario, you would have to turn projects on in account and settings. In the sample company, this feature is already turned on. Well, it wasn't for me. So maybe it wasn't for you either. Definitely check that. All right. So step 2, we're going to enter Japanese fountain as a project name. We're going to, excuse me, we're going to select Sushi by Cats, excuse me. We're going to select Sushi by Katsuki as a customer, leaving the remaining fields as is, and then click Save. So Japanese fountain, and so Japanese fountain right here. Japanese fountain sushi. Okay, and we're just going to click Save. So now we have our first project. Yay! All right. We're going to just close these because they want to tell us all about fun. So you'll see that as we build this project and have income and expenses for it, that all of this will update and you'll be able to see quickly what the profit margin is, which is right here. So that's really cool about projects. All right, so step 3 and 4, now we're going to click the add to project and select invoice, create the invoice as described in the scenario, then click save and close. So we're going to have to go back and forth between this. Let's see. So we're going to go to add to project and create an invoice. Our customer should already be selected. There it goes. It popped in. Okay. All right, let's go back. We're gonna have to go back and forth a little bit. One rock fountain, $275. One fountain pump for $15. Rock fountain automatically comes in at $275. And we have a pump, automatically comes in at $15. Then we have garden lighting for $150. Garden lighting, $150. And let's see, design, 6 hours of design work, $75 an hour. Design, 6, already came out at 75. And landscape, installation of landscaping design, 16. Installation, 16. All right, let's see. Is that our total? No, I must have a 0 wrong somewhere. 275, 115. 161. No, 16. There we go. All right. So we have set that up. Let's see. Now we're going to click Save and Close. What is this note? Note that QBO has automatically begun tracking the income associated with this project. Well, first I have to click Save and Close. Save and not save and send, but save and close. All right, now you can note that we have already associated the income, some income and costs. And what are these costs? The costs of the goods sold, which are included and pre-programmed in there. Let's see, what else did I say? Note that QBO has automatically begun tracking the income associated with this project. This is because the accounting method has been set to accrual in accountant settings. If the client had set this as cash, you would not see the income until the invoice was paid. This is true. The same is true with the bill we will see later in this exercise. Also note that QBO automatically tracks the cost of the fountain and pump. This is what I said just a second ago. This is because these are inventory products and we're already in stock. You'll learn more about inventory in a later section. The cost of garden lighting has not yet been included because it hasn't yet been purchased. We'll do that in the next step. All right, so step 2 or scenario part 2. Craig had the rock fountain and pump in stock, but he had to go buy the lighting. So it was in stock. That's why we could say that what that cost of goods sold was. All right, but he had to go buy the lighting. He picked up the items for $152.10 from a new vendor called Crystal Lighting Supply. Create an expense for this transaction, okay? So we're going to create an expense. We're going to say it's Crystal Lighting Supply as the vendor. And well, let's just do that much so far. All right, new, let's see. Do I have, yeah, I'm using the new button. So I could do it from here and add the project as the customer, or I could just add it to the project here like we did the invoice. But in this exercise, I'm actually adding it as an expense. So we'll see. So once you have projects set up, they're basically kind of treated just like customers. So anything where you would indicate a customer, you would put the name of the project. That's why here on the expense, it says customer/project. All right, so the payee is a new payee, Crystal Lighting Supply, we said. All right, Crystal. Oh my goodness, I cannot type today. Crystal Lighting Supply. And click Save. Okay, then, so create Crystal Lighting Supply as a new vendor. We're going to use fountain and garden lighting for the expense category. Fountain and garden lighting. Notice that there are two here. One of them is an income category and one of them is an expense category. Let's see if I can open this up. Let's see. Fountain. All right, I think that the expense category is the second one. If I can't open that up any further. Okay, so then we're going to put, how much was it? Let's see, $152.10. Let me just check in on my chat people real quick. Okay, all right. And then for the customer project, we're going to say it is the fountain, Japanese fountain right there. All right, so let's go back to our exercise. So we have created that. We've put in that expense category, and then we are just going to click Save and Close. And if I have put in an income category accidentally right here, it will give me a warning message. So we'll see. All right, worked. Okay, so that is that. So now, let me go back and show you. All right, so now we have, what happened? Oh, you know what? I think I did use the wrong category. It didn't give me an error message. Let me go back to that expense. Okay. Yep. Fountains and garden lighting. Fountains and garden lighting. There it is. Okay. All right. So I had accidentally put in the income category instead of the expense category. So now if I go back to my projects, see, sometimes it's good if I make mistakes, right? Because then you can see what you would do if you made a mistake. All right, so we'll go into our project here. All right, this is what it's supposed to look like. So here's the cost of goods sold, which we had already. Here's another expense, that $152.10. That is new. So now our profit margin is 83%, okay? All right, so let's keep going with our scenario. Scenario part 3. Craig's employee, Emily Platt, did the design work for the project, but it only took her 5.75 hours. And we budgeted, what, 16 hours? So Craig is charging Sushi by Katsuki a flat fee, not for her time, but he wants to account for his employee expenses on the project. In total, Emily costs Craig $25 an hour. Use a single timesheet activity to track this. Okay, so we're not changing the invoice to Sushi by what was it? I forgot. To the sushi guy. We're not changing the invoice, even though we thought that it would be 16 hours, but actually it's only 5.75 hours, but we're not changing the invoice because we're not charging him for her time. We're just charging a flat fee. All right, so we're going to use a single timesheet activity to do this. Okay, so before entering Emily's time, you will need to enter her rate. From the project center, click hourly cost rate, then enter Emily's rate as $25. Okay, so we're going to go to the all projects right here. And here is this little button that says hourly cost rate. And we need to add a rate for Emily. And so that her rate is $25. Now, this is not the rate that she gets paid. Okay, this is the rate that it costs us to hire her. So the hourly cost rate, you could get super fancy and build in like all of the stuff the taxes that we pay and the overhead that for her to have a desk and the insurance that we pay on her behalf. Like, you could build this up really. But for now, we're just, for the purposes of the exercise, we're just going to say it's $25. Okay. So Emily, oh, what happened? I forgot to save it. Let's do that again. All right, $25. All right, I have to click this save button right here. Save right there. And then done. All right, I think I got way ahead of myself in the thing. All right. Enter Emily's rate of $25, click save, and then done. All right. So, and I just said the cost rate is how much Emily costs Craig, which includes not only how much she has paid, but also the taxes and other overhead he has to pay. Okay. All right. So I just said that. So steps 3 and 4. So now we're going to go to the Japanese Fountain project and click add to project and select time. Okay, so we did this before. So now we're going to go into the Japanese Fountain. We did this before for the invoice, right? But now we're going to add time this time. All right, and here is the timesheet. So, okay, under service, enter design. We're going to leave billable unchecked because we're not, like I said, we're not billing the time. We're just billing that flat rate. Then enter 5.75. Okay, so for the service is design. This is going to stay unchecked. And here's a cool thing about QBO is you can enter it in it as a decimal and it will automatically convert it to hours and minutes. Okay, so we've got the project there because we selected add to project, so it automatically popped in the project name. So now I'm going to hit save and close. All right, so now you can see our expenses are adding up against the, against this project that we're working on. So more time has been associated with this, and you see our profit margin is going down a little bit. So I can't remember what we want. Our goal was, I think our goal was 40% profit margin. So we'll see if we make that. All right, what else is going to happen? All right, so Craig's employee, John Johnson, did the installation, which should have only taken 2 days. On the second day, however, he ran into some problems with the fountain nozzle. He called his buddy, Jeff Hicks, to come help. He stopped by with, that's Jeff, stopped by with some parts from his hardware store. And on the third day, John finished up after an additional 4 hours. Help John fill out a weekly timesheet to track this. Then enter the bill Craig received from Hicks Hardware, which included $150 of labor help and $23.50 worth of parts. So the expenses on this Japanese fountain are building up. Okay, so here we go. Going to steps 1. Again, just like we did with Emily, we have to enter John's rate. So this is how much he costs us. So we're going to say John's rate is $40. Okay, so we're going back to here. We're going to go back to the all projects screen. Go to the hourly cost rate. And for John, we're going to say that is $40. Click save and then done. Okay, so now we're going to fill out the timesheet as well as the expense for Hicks Hardware. Okay, so now we're going to do a weekly timesheet. We did a single timesheet before with Emily, and now we're going to do a weekly timesheet because he worked several days. Okay, so we're going to use the drop down to select John Johnson. In the details, we're going to select the Japanese Fountain project and enter installation in the service field. 8 hours on Monday, 8 hours on Tuesday, 4 hours on Wednesday. That was that additional time. Okay, so we're going to go back here. We're going to use the plus new button and select weekly timesheet. And then we're going to choose John Johnson. And our customer was the Japanese fountain, not just sushi, but the project of the fountain. Okay. So what did he do? He did installation. Then for 8 hours on Monday, 8 hours on Tuesday, 4 hours on Wednesday. Now, for those of you who are interested in QuickBooks Online Payroll, if you had payroll, then you would have to do this in payroll before payroll is run. And when payroll is run, that's when these charges are applied to the project after payroll is run. But in this case, we don't have payroll, and so we're just tracking the time this way. Okay, so now I'm going to hit save and close. All right, and let's see what has happened. Well, let me go back to my exercise. Okay, so I did all these things. Step 5, the bill from Hicks Hardware, I almost forgot. So we're going to click plus new and select bill. We're going to create Hicks Hardware as the vendor, Japanese fountain as the customer project. And then what did we say it was? $150 for the help, and then $23.50 for the actual fountain nozzle. All right, so let's add that bill. Plus new bill. All right, and the vendor was Hicks Hardware. And then let's see, we've got maintenance and repairs. Oh, there's a bunch of them. Let's see. I think this one is sub-account of labor. I think that's the one we want. Cost of labor, yep. Help repairing fountain nozzle. Help repairing fountain nozzle. Let's see, and that was $150. We have to say our project is that Japanese fountain. And then we have more fountain and garden lights, and we want to make sure it's in the job expenses one. Okay, fountain. Job expenses. All right, should be that one. Job expenses, job materials, okay. And then that was fountain nozzle parts. Oh my gosh, what is with me and spelling today, guys? All right, and $23.50. Again, we're going to say this is for that fountain. So we're keeping track of our expenses by that job, that project. Okay, and then I'm just going to click save and close. Save and close. All right, let's take a look at our project. Ooh, we can see right here that the profit margin is only 18.5%, which is way lower than we wanted. You can see, this is the cool thing about projects, guys, is that you can see if I had multiple projects, I'd have them all listed here, and I could see the profitability of all of them right in a row. So we can see our income and our costs, what our profit margin is, how much time we spent on it. And then if I go in for more details, we could see it actually listed out here, and I could say exactly where all of the different expenses were. And I could even click on this fountain and garden lighting, and we would see that we have both the Hicks hardware that we just did and that crystal lighting supply from earlier. Okay, and that is it. Let me just check our conclusion here. So did Craig meet his goal of a 30% profit margin? No, he didn't. All right, unfortunately he did not. Maybe if John hadn't had trouble with the nozzle and had to bring in Jeff, he would have. And I noticed that my numbers here are different. 16.9% is different than what I got, which was 18%, 18.5%. So I will take a look at that and see where my math is wrong, guys. And I don't know, maybe I typed something wrong in this exercise, or I have something typed wrong in the exercise, in which case I will fix it for you. All right, so that is it for practice using projects. Now, that was our #1 voted on exercise this week. Now, I also had as an option for people to vote on converting sub-customers to projects, and it wasn't #2. But since we're talking about projects, I thought I would just sneak it in, right? So let's talk about converting sub-customers to projects. Now, if you're in the advanced course, if you have studied about sub-customers and projects, you know that in some ways they're very, very similar. As you just saw with the projects, projects are basically, they're underneath each customer. So they're kind of treated as sub-customers. The cool thing about projects is all of those profitability reports, and that you can track time against it, which you can't do with sub-customers. But so the thing is that most people maybe would want to use projects instead of sub-customers. Maybe they started to use sub-customers and they decided that, oh, now we want to have them be projects. So QBO makes a little tool that allows you to easily convert those sub-customers to projects, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay. All right, so practice using projects is what we just finished. Now we're going to convert sub-customers, and Joel has already put the link in for us. All right, awesome. So here we are in our exercise. Here is our scenario. Craig has decided to use projects instead of sub-customers to track the profitability of his jobs. How can you easily convert his existing sub-customers to projects? Oh, that's a fun message. Okay. All right. So first, you're going to have to turn on the projects feature. Well, luckily we did that in the last exercise. All right. So that we know that's already turned on. Then, that's all our instructions for how to turn that on. Okay. Now, we're going to have to return to the customer list, because the only way you can qualify to convert to a project is if the sub-customers are set to bill with parent. If they're set for their own billing, then they can't become projects. And that's because projects have to have only one address. So whereas if you have sub-customers, they can have their own individual addresses. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to convert a couple of our sub-customers. We're going to set them to bill with parent before we get started. So here it says right here, only sub-customers that are set to bill with parent can be converted to projects. So you'll need to make this adjustment for Craig's existing sub-customers. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is this Freeman Sporting Goods. So going back to my sample company, sales, and then customers. All right, so here we are, and we have Freeman Sporting Goods has 2 sub-customers right here, and you can see that that Craig was keeping track of them by their address, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the individual address is receiving the bills. So it could be that the main Freeman Sporting Goods is getting the bills, but Craig just wants to keep track of his income and expenses for each location. Okay. All right. So we're just going to click Ocean View Road location here. We're going to click Edit. And then we're going to scroll down to where it says bill parent customer. So we want to make sure that that is set. Okay. So we're setting that for that location. And then we're going to go back. We're going to click customers. We're going to do that again for this other location. Edit. Bill parent customer. Hit save. And then customers. We have one more down here, which is Shara Barnett Design. We're going to click that one. Click Edit. And bill parent customer. And hit save. All right, so let's go back to our exercise because I'm sure I'm way ahead because that tends to happen. All right, step 5 is we edited that. Then we build the parent company and we repeated it with the others. Okay, so now we're ready to move on and we're going to go back to the customers list. So when I go back to the main customer list, you'll notice that there is this little pop-up message that says, do you organize sub-customers as projects? You can convert the first level sub-customers into their own project, and then you have the opportunity to convert now. Now, I used to think that I would only see this message if I had qualifying sub-customers. But in fact, even though those that I just set up were not qualifying, because they weren't set to bill with parent, I still got that message. So just an FYI. All right, so we're going to click Convert Now. All right, so now we can select all of them by clicking here. And let me go back so I'm not ahead. Okay, that was the wrong one. All right, here we go. We clicked Convert Now. We're going to click the checkbox at the top, then click Convert and Continue. Okay, so we hit Convert and Continue. Bum, bum, bum. We've converted 3 sub-customers to projects for you. So let's go back to our exercise. Step 10, we're going to click Go to Projects. And dun, dun, dun. Now we have, in addition to our Japanese fountain, because we did that previous exercise, we also have these, which are other sub-customers that we now have more projects that we can see. And you can see Ocean View Road has both income and expenses logged against it already. Okay, and that is it for, let's see, finished. You can see the profitability. Yay. Okay, if you desire, you could add hourly cost rates and all of that good stuff. All right, so that's it for converting customers. That's it for projects. Let me just check the chat, make sure there aren't any questions about this. All right, so we are going to move on to the next totally different topic. It's maybe sort of related to, we're going to be talking about classes, which is also part of section 1. Actually, all of the exercises in the survey this week were about section 1 because that's what I'm working on with as I'm rebuilding our 2023 Fast and Easy QBO Advanced Certification course. And so this is a lot of what's covered in section 1 is all about like subdividing things so that you can run more specific reports. And classes is one of the ways that we can do that. And that was our number 2 vote for this week on the live stream. So let's see. Looks like I don't have any other questions about projects, so we will move on I'm going to close that one and that one so I don't get confused. And we're going to switch gears and talk about classes. All right, here is our scenario. Craig would like to track his income by residential and commercial services. Use the classes feature to set this up for him and provide reports to show the sales for each class. Okay, so step one, we need to turn on the classes feature. We're going to do that in the advanced tab in the categories section. All right, so let's go to our account and settings. Hopefully it doesn't take as long to load as it did last time. And we're going to go to sales. No, I said advanced, not sales, advanced. All right, and here we go, categories, and we're going to turn on track classes. Okay, now when I turn on track classes, I have some options. I can be warned when a transaction isn't assigned to a class, and I can assign a different class to each row in a transaction, or I can just say this entire transaction is all one class. And let's see what I have in the exercise. Everything we're remaining as is. So we're just going to click save and then done. It's not close, it's done. Okay, save and done. All right, step 2. All right, next we're going to set up the classes. From the gear icon, select all lists, then click classes. Use the green new button to create the commercial and residential classes. Do not check the is subclass box. Okay, so let's go through this. From the gear icon, we're going to select all lists, then click classes. Okay, from the gear icon, we're going to select all lists and then click classes. If we hadn't already turned on classes, you wouldn't even see it here in this list. So if you don't see it here, that's a hint that you need to go to account and settings and turn it on. Okay, so here's classes, and we are going to set up our 2 classes. We're going to set up residential. Okay, it's not a subclass, so we're leaving that. And then commercial. All right, so now that we have our classes established, we're going to assign them to the previous transactions. Let's see, step 3, okay? And we're gonna do that using the reclassify tool. So we're gonna go to accountant tools and reclassify transactions. All right, we're going to put in a super big, long date range because I have no idea how much is in the sample company. So, we're going to put in January. I put in there January of last year. Yeah, I guess we'll do January of last year. January 1st of last year. Make sure, notice how this defaults to the last day of last month. So we're going to include today. And then click find transaction. So hopefully we've got all the transactions in there. Okay. All right. Step 5, start by reclassifying the residential customers. We're going to sort the transactions by customer/vendor. Then select all the ones that are names rather than companies. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, Gita, John, Mark, and Travis. Okay, so we're going to sort this by customer vendor. And we're going to find all of the names. So we're going to check Gita. There's 3 for Gita. There's 2 for Mark. Pam is a name, but I don't have Pam on the list before. All right, let's see. Where's Travis? Okay, let's see. There's John. You can only classify one page of transactions. So maybe I should have done this before. Let's see. What is my instruction? Select all the ones that are names rather than companies. I should have been able to do that all on the previous page. Gita, John, Mark, and Travis. All right, let me go to the previous page. All right, let's do it again. Gita. Mark. I don't know why John's not on this page. Mark. All right. All right. I don't know why I can't select more than that right now, but let's go ahead and reclassify these. We're going to click reclassify, then change the class to residential. So reclassify, change the class, which is the second one, to residential. Apply. And then, let's see, can I use this to find, there's John. Let's do John's. Change the class to residential. And then Travis. There he is, Travis. I'm going to select all of his, reclassify, change the class to residential. Okay. So we've done all of that. Step 7. Now we're going to make all of the remaining ones. So we did all of the residential ones. Now we're going to do everybody else. We're going to say is commercial. So what we want to do is we want to say, show me all the ones that are not residential in the list. That way I can just select all of them. Okay, so the way we do that is we're going to change the filter criteria to show only those that are not residential. Okay, in the class dropdown, select none, then click find transactions. Okay, so we want them to have no class assigned. So we're going to go back to, because I cheated and did only those customers, and they're going to say we want the ones that have no class assigned. Okay, and now we're just going to go through and we're going to reclassify them all. We're going to reclassify them to commercial. We'll have to do this a couple of times, and not all of the transactions can be made. See, I think I have a note there. Okay, so check the grid at the top to select all transactions. Click the reclassify. Okay. Well, I guess I can't do all of them as. We couldn't reclassify your transactions. Let's see. Can only reclassify to commercial. Wow, that's no fun. What is going on here? Why can't I reclassify them? We couldn't reclassify. Now, there are some types of transactions that sometimes you can't reclassify, like sales tax. Let's see. Wonder if that inventory adjustment probably is one of the ones that can't reclassify. That's left over from a previous exercise that we did in the same session. That might be giving us grief here. So let me deselect those. Nope. Okay. Well, good times, guys. All right, let's do this. Let's say we only want to see the invoices. We're going to select all of those, reclassify them as commercial. All right, those we were able to. So let's see what is left. Let's do expenses. Reclassify those to commercial. All right. Let's see how many are left here. Still a bunch. All right, let's do this. Let's group them by type. And I think in the interest of time, I'm just going to reclassify these bills. And I'll have to investigate what is preventing us from. There are some transactions, like I mentioned, that cannot be reclassified. And I don't have those listed in the exercise. I thought that I did. So we'll have to look into that, guys. Sorry. All right, but I'm just going to do these bills, reclassify the bills, change the class to commercial. So then at least we can go to that last step, and then you can see how it affects the reports. Okay, so there are 2 reports that we're now on step 10. Let me just go back. So step 9 was all the reclassifying work. Then steps 10 through 11, there are 2 reports that might be useful to Craig. We're going to take a look at each of them. Click reports and locate profit and loss by class. If the sample company doesn't seem to respond, click refresh your screen. All right, so we are going to go to reports, profit and loss, not that one, but profit and loss by class. Okay, and then here is what I wanted to point out is that for the items that we were able to reclassify as commercial, you'll notice that now in this column, we can see for that particular class what the profit and loss was. The same is true for residential. And for those things that for whatever reason we weren't able to reclassify, they're listed as not specified. So that's really the key thing that you need to know there. All right, let's see. The not specified column indicates all transactions without a class assigned. In our case, for income accounts, these would be those recorded with a sales receipt. Since we only reclassified the invoices, I wasn't following my own instructions. That was the problem. This column also includes all expenses since we did not reclassify those. In the scenario, Craig said he only wanted to track income. See, that's the problem. I wasn't paying attention to my own instructions, guys. All right, so, and then if Craig would like to see a separate profit and loss for report for each class, just use the customize button to change the columns. You can then change the customization for future use. So if you only wanted the report to show the commercial and then you wanted a separate report that would only show the residential, that's what you would do, okay? And then steps 12 through 13, another useful report, just so you can see some quick sales numbers, is the sales by class summary report. So let's go ahead and look at that one. So we have got sales by class summary right here. I'm going to change this to all dates. Click Run Report. And then you can see what's great about this one is it just shows you a bird's eye view for each of those classes, the commercial and the residential, and of course the not specified. All right. And that is it for me, guys. Let me put my shining face back up here. There we go. All right. So what questions do you have for me? I'll just chat for a few minutes in case anything pops up. That is what we've covered today. We've covered adjusting inventory. We covered projects, creating projects, assigning income and expenses and time to projects, as well as converting sub-customers to projects. And then we wrapped it all up with talking about classes. All of these topics are covered in the advanced course. Section 1 is the projects and sub-customers and everything, inventory. I can't remember which section that is. But anyway, so that is it for me. I don't see any questions popping up. So with that, I will say see you next time, and I can't wait to hear your success story.